As November deepens, Germany braces for a winter that promises to be unlike any in recent memory. The air is already tinged with a sharper chill, and the landscape is slowly transforming as frost creeps across fields and rooftops. For years, winters here have been marked by mild temperatures and persistent rain, leaving many to wonder if the classic German winter was a thing of the past. But this year, meteorologists are sounding the alarm. The weather patterns are shifting, and the country could be on the verge of a dramatic return to colder, snowier days. Instead of the damp gray monotony that has defined recent seasons, forecasts suggest a break from the norm. The coming months may bring a sustained period of cold, with the potential for significant snowfall and icy conditions that could linger well into the new year. The atmosphere is signaling a shift. Unusual patterns above the North Pole are developing, and these could send persistent cold waves sweeping across Central Europe. Scientists are closely monitoring the polar vortex, a swirling mass of cold air high above the Arctic, which appears to be weakening and wobbling in ways that often precede harsh winters for countries like Germany. This isn't just a forecast for a few chilly days. Late 2024 could see a sustained cold snap, with temperatures dropping well below average and the possibility of snow blanketing towns and cities for weeks at a time. We'll explore how a misbehaving polar vortex high above us could shape the weather on the ground, from the numbers you see on your car dashboard each morning to the increased likelihood of waking up to a world covered in white. The impact could be felt in daily routines, from scraping ice off windshields to navigating slippery sidewalks and roads. Expect a detailed breakdown of snow odds, frost risks, and the factors that will determine just how cold and snowy your neighborhood might get. We'll look at which areas are most likely to see heavy snowfalls, and which might escape with only a dusting or persistent frost. And we'll explain why some regions may be transformed into winter wonderlands, while others remain dry and cold with only the occasional flurry to break up the monotony. We'll also demystify terms like blocking highs, those stubborn zones of high pressure that can lock cold air in place for weeks, and the negative NAO index, a key climate indicator that often signals a shift toward colder, snowier weather in Europe. Understanding these meteorological concepts will help you see why this winter could be so different, and why the forecasts matter for your daily life, from travel plans to heating bills. By the end, you'll understand why this winter might feel more traditional, with the potential for memorable, cold, and snow. It could be a season that brings back the joys and the challenges of winters past, from snowball fights to the need for extra layers and careful planning. The signs are clear. A chilly end to the year is brewing, starting with a disturbance far above our heads. As we watch the skies and track the forecasts, one thing is certain: Germany is on the cusp of a winter that could be both beautiful and bracing, a true return to the season's roots. To truly understand what's about to unfold this winter, we need to look far above our heads, into the stratosphere, where a colossal, invisible force spins relentlessly. This is the stratospheric polar vortex, a vast, swirling mass of frigid air that circles high above the North Pole, like a giant spinning top in the sky. It's not something we can see with the naked eye, but its influence stretches all the way down to the weather we feel on the ground. When the polar vortex is strong and stable, it acts like a sturdy barrier, locking the coldest Arctic air in place. This means countries like Germany are shielded from the harshest winter blasts, often enjoying milder, calmer winters with fewer surprises. But this year something unusual is happening. The vortex is historically weak, wobbling and unstable, almost as if the spinning top is losing its balance. This instability is causing meteorologists to pay close attention, as it could signal dramatic changes ahead. When the vortex weakens, it becomes a leaky cage. Cold Arctic air, usually trapped far to the north, can now escape and surge southward. Some weather models even suggest the winds inside the vortex could reverse direction entirely, a rare and significant event that can trigger extreme weather far from the pole. The breakdown of the vortex doesn't instantly flip a switch on our weather. Instead, it's like the first domino falling in a long chain reaction. The effects ripple outward, gradually setting the stage for bigger changes in the weeks to come. As the vortex loses strength, the jet stream, the fast-moving river of air high above us, becomes wavier and more unpredictable. This waviness can bring sudden swings in temperature, powerful storms, and unexpected weather patterns, making forecasts much more challenging. Meteorologists across Europe are watching these developments closely. A weak, wobbly vortex means the usual mild winter pattern is unlikely. Instead, they're preparing for the possibility of more frequent cold snaps and unusual weather events. With the Arctic air now having a clearer path south, Germany and much of Europe are primed for colder, more unpredictable winter weather. The stage is set for a season that could be far from ordinary. This shifting, unstable atmosphere forms the backdrop for Germany's winter story, a story that's still being written, shaped by forces high above us. The wobbly polar vortex is the main reason forecasters expect a colder, more volatile December. As this giant in the sky stumbles, it's likely to bring a winter full of surprises, challenges, and dramatic weather twists to Germany and beyond. So, what does a weak polar vortex mean for Germany? The answer is more significant than you might think. The polar vortex is a swirling mass of cold air high above the Arctic, and when it weakens, it can have a dramatic impact on weather patterns far to the south, including right here in Germany. In short, a weak polar vortex means a much higher chance of cold, wintry weather sweeping across the country. Instead of the usual mild spells, we're more likely to see extended periods of chill, with temperatures dropping well below what we're used to for this time of year. The reason? When the polar vortex is disrupted, the jet stream, our main weather highway, becomes wavy and unstable. This allows frigid Arctic air to spill southward, setting up classic cold spells. Frost, ice, and snow can reach even lower altitudes, affecting areas that don't usually see much winter weather. Gone is the conveyor belt of mild, wet Atlantic air that often keeps Germany relatively temperate. Instead, we get what meteorologists call blocked patterns, weather systems that linger, keeping us colder and drier for longer stretches. This can mean weeks of crisp, clear days, but also a higher risk of icy conditions. Expect more days with temperatures below average, and a greater risk of dour frost, persistent frost that refuses to melt, even during the day. Parks, ponds, and city streets can stay frozen for days, or even weeks, making daily life a bit more challenging. Precipitation is also more likely to fall as snow or sleet, especially in the east and south of Germany. This means more opportunities for snow-covered landscapes, but also a greater need for caution on the roads and sidewalks. While a weak polar vortex doesn't guarantee a white Christmas, it certainly increases the odds for memorable winter scenes. Children may find more chances to play in the snow, and towns could see festive decorations dusted with fresh powder, creating that classic winter wonderland atmosphere. With Germany now more exposed to Arctic air, December becomes a month to watch for sudden weather surprises. Rapid changes, from calm, cold days to intense snowstorms, are much more likely, keeping everyone on their toes. The stage is set for a winter that could be both colder and more dramatic than anything we've seen in recent years. Whether you love the snow or dread the cold, one thing is certain: this winter in Germany is shaping up to be one to remember. The immediate forecast shows the cold pattern taking hold. Germany sits between two weather systems, with a fragile high-pressure bridge overhead. Expect a dry but cold weekend, with widespread frost, overnight lows dropping to -5 or even -10 in southern valleys. Daytime highs will struggle, hovering between 0 and 4 degrees, with some areas stuck below freezing all day. The Rhine may see slightly milder temps, but it'll still feel cold. Precipitation chances are low, but a few snowflurries could brush the east or far west. Most will just notice the biting cold, persistent frost, and the need for winter gear. The story: a classic chilly November weekend. Hats and gloves are a must. High and low pressure systems are the true puppeteers of our winter weather. Lows bring wet, unsettled conditions. Highs bring clear, cold, and settled spells. The key is their position. A high over the Azores means mild Atlantic air, but a blocking high over Scandinavia or Iceland changes everything. This block can shut out the Atlantic, forcing winds from the northeast. Classic deep freeze territory for Germany. The result: severe frost, sunny but icy days, and even lake-effect snow if Baltic moisture is involved. Long-range models now suggest such a blocking high could form, increasing the odds of a colder-than-average December. The Atlantic door closes and the Siberian freezer opens. This is the strongest signal yet for a true winter chill. The stage is set for a dramatic shift in Germany's weather. Next week, a weak Atlantic low nudges in, briefly moderating temperatures in western Germany. Expect a slight rise. Daytime highs may reach 5 degrees in the west, but the rest of the country stays cold. This isn't a return to mild weather. The warm-up is minor and short-lived. ensemble forecasts show little chance of a real thaw, especially in the east and south. The main story, a tug-of-war between lingering cold and a fleeting Atlantic push. Some cloud and patchy precipitation are possible, but snow or sleet remains likely in colder regions. The cold pattern is expected to reassert itself quickly, setting up for more significant blocking later in the month. Winter's grip is far from over. Predicting snow is tricky. Small shifts in low-pressure tracks can mean snow for one region, rain for another. Models disagree. The American GFS hints at snow in the east while the European ECMWF favors the northwest. The outcome depends on the dance between cold air and incoming moisture. If the cold is deep enough, it's snow. If not, it could be freezing rain or just cold rain. The potential for snow is higher than usual, but exact locations remain uncertain. Cold air from the east is often dry, so significant snow needs a moisture source, like a Mediterranean low or a Baltic disturbance. For now, we watch and wait, knowing the odds for snow are up, but the details are elusive. December's snow map is still a mystery. The biggest wildcard for December is the potential for a blocking high over the North Atlantic or near Greenland. This boulder in the jet stream cuts off mild Atlantic air, letting Arctic air spill south. Winds shift to the northeast, bringing bitterly cold, dry air from Russia and Scandinavia. Expect severe cold daytime highs below freezing nights, plunging into double-digit negatives. The North Atlantic Oscillation (NAO) index is another clue. Forecasts show it turning neutral or negative favoring blocks, and cold. A negative NAO means weaker westerlies and a higher risk of prolonged cold spells. All signs point to a winter pattern that's calmer, colder, and more blocked than usual. The door to the Atlantic closes, and the Arctic gateway opens wide. Germany could be in for a true taste of old-fashioned winter. All major signals point to a colder, more unpredictable late November and December for Germany. The weak polar vortex is disrupting the jet stream, making Arctic air intrusions much more likely. The usual mild, wet Atlantic pattern is off the table. Instead, a traditional, possibly severe winter is on the cards. Expect widespread frost, chilly days, and only brief minor warm-ups. A major blocking high could soon shut out the Atlantic, opening the door for a prolonged cold spell. Snowfall remains uncertain, but the environment is primed for wintry weather. Prepare for more ice, sharper frosts, and a higher chance of snow. This winter could be a memorable one. Even in a warming world, nature can still deliver a proper cold snap.